believe it or not, covering this particular machine for an episode of Hot Blocks, I found rather daunting. It's no simple setup, it's no simple task to explain exactly what this thing does, because it's so capable. It is so robust in functionality that it seems like it's almost like it's trying to explain everything. Or I'm trying to explain everything just by showing this block and what it can do. And I know that I can't do that, and that's a very daunting thing. So a lot of people have been requesting Steve's Factory Manager for quite a while for an episode of Hot Blocks, and I would be remiss if I did not cover it. I would be lacking in my duties. But to cover it tackles a lot. So I'm going to open up this with a disclaimer. I am in no way an expert with Steve's Factory Manager. I know several other people that are far more well-versed and far more capable of explaining what I can do. So I'm just going to scratch the surface, and then I'm going to provide you with links off to other gentlemen, like Aiko the Builder, or Bevo LJ, or Sice. People who have videos where they have used these to such capability that I would not be doing this machine justice if I did not point you to them. So, to get started with Steve's Factory Manager, it is one block when it comes down to it. It's just this block right here, and it's got what looks like a fairly simple interface. When you place one down, this is what you get. A giant empty canvas to do with as you please, and a set of buttons that go down the side. Now, there have been a lot of functionality that's been added to Steve's Factory Manager by the development team over the last several weeks, ever since it was initially introduced as a Mod Jam contestant. But its core functionality, its core idea has never changed. Just how it could achieve that idea has grown and grown and grown. It can handle items, it can handle liquids. And you ask, what can you do with this? Well, I can actually show you what you can do with Steve's Factory Manager. I have a couple of simple setups here. And these are by far so simple in comparison to what you can actually do with Steve's Factory. This doesn't even scratch the surface, barely scratches the surface on what you can do. So bear with me. And then you can get on to more knowledgeable sources for this wonderful piece of equipment. I have here a furnace. This is this bottom level. I have a furnace and two chests that are hooked up to this. Now, what you'll notice, there is a thing called inventory cable right here. Inventory cable lets the Factory Manager communicate with other devices. Now, that being said, it's more than just that inventory cable. There's so many other things that Steve's Factory Manager... there's so many other things that Steve's Factory Manager is capable of and can do that I actually don't even know the full capabilities of. It has redstone emitters that it can actually use. Item valves, block detectors. You can camouflage the cable to make it look like something else, which is very, very cool. So you don't have to have little black stripes going through your floor if you don't want to. But when it comes down to it, basically the Factory Manager is just this block. The only thing that the inventory cable does is let you communicate with other blocks farther away than direct contact. Like this Factory Manager would be able to talk to this chest because it touches it. But beyond that, it can't see these other two pieces of equipment unless they're all in touch with this inventory cable. So that's what this does, this inventory cable across the bottom, is it lets the block see more than just what's right next to it. In this particular case, I have an input chest that's got some blocks of coal in it. I have a furnace with only one block of coal in it, and an output chest, which what looks like a couple of iron bars. Now, if I get some ore, let's say, just one piece of gold ore, it vanishes. It's put into the furnace, and as soon as the furnace gets through processing it, you will see a gold block that disappears to show up over here. Now, what's happening here? Basically, what is happening is specifically this process that I have set up, and I'll go through it step by step. Okay, so we have what looks like, to me at least, from doing old office work like flow charts and things of this nature, to diagram when I used to work in boring office environments. Diagram your work functionality, things I absolutely dreaded. Well, when it comes down to this, actually, it's very interesting and it's very intriguing, and I get excited about it. Steve's Factory Manager puts an interesting twist on things. So you have basically a trigger. This is a trigger up here. And you can determine the interval, the amount of seconds that this command will operate. I just have this set at every 1 second. And you have this stuff that I've breaches into the methods that I don't normally update, that I don't normally mess with. I do know that if you have a redstone, if you have a redstone emitter hooked up to this, it can determine redstone control. And if the factory manager is only triggering this with every redstone signal, like if you want to run a redstone timer on it from Project Red, or another kind of a redstone clock, or block update detector, it only runs when a block next to it changes, or a block update, a block that is connected to a block update detector that is part of Steve's Factory. So there's a lot you can do. Most times I leave this as default on interval, 1 second, don't even need to mess with it. Then basically what you have is an input and an output. That's these right here. It's trigger, that's the top one. Input and output. So what I've done basically is I'm saying the input is this chest to the left of, just to the right, the nearest chest. I want you to check in it, go through the top. This is eye-sighted. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but some blocks, what they do and how they function is very determinate upon how other things, what side other things interact with them with. If you have a hopper on the top of a furnace, that hopper will place things in the top slot of a furnace. If you have a hopper going into the side of a furnace, it should, in theory, place things into the bottom slot where the fuel is. If you place a hopper under a furnace, it's pulling things out of the bottom of the furnace, which is the right slot where all of the results, the processed and smelted goods go. So that's what this is. You can basically, what I've done here is I'm saying access through the top of the chest. And really with chests, it doesn't matter. Any side will work. And you're going to check for these items. Iron ore, silver ore, copper ore. Now here's the thing. What I'm doing is I'm left clicking on this once and I type. You don't even have to have the item. I'm going to type, let's say shiny. Is there such a thing as, no. Maybe I can find ore. Let's just type in ore and see what we get. Yeah, see? Redstone ore, iron ore, coal ore. There's so much of this stuff here. Saltpeter, bauxite, dark iron. The list goes on and on. Let's do Ventium. And I've added it to the list. A left click here. You search for something by name, and it checks just like if you're searching in NEI. And then you left click on it again. Now here's the thing on all of these I've selected. If you right click, you get another set of options. And normally it defaults to precise detection, but what you can do is change it. There's OR dictionary support, fuzzy detection, NBT independent detection, precise detection again. So what I've done is I've set all of these to OR dictionary. So that means not only is it like, let's say, mechanism copper or thermal expansion copper, it's also IC2 copper or anything else that may come along, which is very cool. So that means tin, lead, ferrous, silver, iron, gold, all of this stuff is already OR dictionary supported. It'll find any kind from any mod and pull it in. So that's what the input does. And then the input is linked to output. The output says get this input and put it in the furnace through the top. As I said, just like a hopper would on top of the furnace. And you can set here, let's say I wanted only iron ore to go to this furnace or only gold ore to go to this furnace. So you could blacklist certain things or only whitelist certain things. You're flexible there. So what's happening is every second, this is checking to see if there's ore, and if there is, it moves it to the furnace in the top slot. It sounds very simple, but it's actually kind of complex in how it does it. And then this right here, results, is basically going and checking the furnace right there through the bottom where the results are, basically. And it's getting those smelted goods. I don't have any limitations here, no whitelist. I just have to set to blacklist. It's getting that, and it does output, send it to the chest all the way at the end. So basically, this grabs the ore and puts it in the furnace. This grabs that resulting processed ore, the ingot, and puts it in the chest. So that's how it gets from here to here to here. Now, there's another part of this that you're not seeing. You have a block of coal down here. I'm going to pull that out, and another one shows up. Automatically, what they're doing is pulling it from this chest right here. So what this is, fuel in. What this does is it has a conditional, that's it, this right here. And it says true or false. It has a true or false condition. And what it's doing, it's saying inventory, the furnace, target through the side, that's where the fuel would go. Does it have any block of coal? At least one. If it does, and that is true, do nothing. If it's false, go to the chest nearest me, through the top, get a block of coal, but just one block of coal, and then put it in the furnace, through the side, through the bottom. Well, that works. Put it in through the bottom. Actually, you know what? I think it's supposed to be going in through the sides. Just in case. Yeah. So just in case, that won't cause any problem. So basically, that's what's happening. Is this checks. Does the furnace have coal? Yes, do nothing. No, get one piece and put it in the furnace. So the whole loop is making a self-sustaining, self-functioning situation. Now, here's a step further. I have a barrel that is being fueled, thank you, by a tree farm. This tree farm is linked to this barrel and constantly pumping wood in. And what I have here is a furnace that is automatically getting that wood one at a time. You'll see that count goes down to 63, back up to 64. And it's getting that and smelting it into charcoal and storing it here. But that charcoal always keeps one piece right there. And if I pull that out, another one, another one, another one. So basically what's happening is I have a similar one to the furnace below us. I basically have a trigger, a set of triggers. You'll see one of these conditionals, just like we had previously. This tree is getting wood from the barrel and putting it in the top slot of the furnace. This tree is getting whatever is in the results, the processed area for the furnace, the output, and it's putting it in the barrel over here. So basically, one step gets wood from the barrel, puts it in the furnace top slot. Another step gets that charcoal and moves it to the barrel. But then there's this other one that says, I want you to check that furnace through the side. Is there at least one piece of charcoal there? If there is, do nothing. If there's not, then get a piece of charcoal from over here and put it into that bottom slot. So now you'll see these are real simple. It looks like real simple, real streamlined processes, but this isn't even 1% of what you can do with Steve's Factory Manager. It goes deeper. And dare I say, deeper than I am comfortable delving into at this point in time. I'm still learning this mod, just like the rest of you, but I can recognize a hot block when I see one. The Factory Manager, even by itself, even connected between two blocks, is a powerful machine that you can do a lot with. You can move fluids from A to B to make sure that your magnetic engines have lava kept in them. You can even have it checked to make sure, does it have a bucket of lava? If it doesn't have at least a bucket of lava, put more in. If it has at least a bucket, leave it alone. That way you don't have a whole bunch of magnetic engines constantly jammed full of lava that you could be using for other purposes. you could have a lava pump automatically turn on when your reserves in a tank get low. It can do that. And so much more. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to put some links on the top of the screen that are going to go to 3 other gentlemen's channels that I know use Steve's Factory Manager on a pretty regular basis. Bevo, Echo, and Sice. Sice has a great series from season 1 of Resident Rise where he got a factory working with factorization to process and automate all of his ore handling. Echo the Builder has used Steve's Factory Manager on numerous occasions. He's even using it on season 2 of Resident Rise. And Bevo LJ has used Steve's Factory Manager on numerous occasions on several servers. So I'm going to put some links up on the screen. I highly encourage you to visit these gentlemen's channels. You take a look through their series and you find some of their Steve's Factory Manager handling that they've done in the past that really is good. Until then, this is Vaygrim signing off. I very much thank you for understanding that this is more of a spotlight that just brings to attention amazing things from amazing mods and isn't necessarily an in-depth tutorial. So thank you for being patient on that front. I am still learning Steve's Factory Manager, and I would really love to put out some mod guides on it at a later date so I could kind of get people into using it at some of its early stages. Hopefully at least this video gives you some ideas of what it's capable of, and you'll just go tweak and tune and figure it out for yourself, as is fun to do. But it's never a bad thing to look for some help at other sources and start asking people. So feel free to go look up some of those other videos that I'm pointing you towards on those other gentlemen's channels. And until next time, I will see you on the next episode of Hot Blocks. Bye-bye.